How easy is it to root herb cuttings in the fall? I want to give this a try. It's getting quite late in October. We haven't had a frost yet, but it's getting pretty cool at night and the plants are stopping to grow. I thought, wouldn't it be great if we can just take cuttings from our herb garden, bring them inside, root them, and then grow them inside for the winter? So I decided to do this little experiment. I went out into the garden and took cuttings from 8 different plants, put them in trays, added some water, and it's been about 2 weeks. Let's see if some of them I've rooted. So here's what I have: sage, oregano, basil, marjoram, summer savory, borage, rosemary, lavender, and Russian tarragon. Now out of these I've only got 3 to root so far. The one that rooted the best was marjoram. Pretty much all the cuttings have quite a good root system. Top green leaves look good, and these are ready to pot up. The basil also rooted, but only 1 out of the 3. But that one looks really good. One of the others started making a flower, and that's going to suck all the food into the flower and away from forming roots. So I've pinched off the flower. The other one that rooted was the borage. Sort of. It has one tiny little root coming, but once I see one root, I know there's more coming. The larger piece also had the problem with making flowers at the top, so those have been pinched off. All of the other herbs look pretty good, and I think they will root, with the possible exception of Russian tarragon. The leaves have all gone yellow, and the water in here is getting pretty slimy. I think these are just rotting. But we'll give them all another couple weeks and see how they do. It's been another couple weeks in my herb experiment, so let's have a look and see which of these herbs rooted. So out of the herbs that I collected, about half of them rooted and half didn't. Part of the reason half didn't was that the stems were quite woody by the time I collected them. Remember, I collected them in fall. If you repeated this experiment in like late spring, early summer, when the stems are nice and green, I think you'd have better luck at propagating these herbs. On the other hand, if you do it in fall, the winter's going to get them anyway, so you've got nothing to lose, so give it a try. This is my marjoram. Now the plant looks really sad here, and that's my fault. I let it dry out. This thing was growing so well and had lots of roots, and they were sucking up the water faster than all the others. But there's a ton of roots in here. This one was really easy to root. Now sage wasn't rooted earlier, but it is now. 2 of the stems have roots. One's quite nice, the other one is just starting, and the other 2, 3 stems here, they're not rooted at all. So some will root, but it's not a great success. The oregano didn't root at all. Now basil had rooted earlier, but now we have more of the stems rooted. In fact, they all have roots now, and you can see that that's a pretty nice set of roots there. This one is the Russian tarragon, and those basically died. They're not doing anything. This is summer savory. The stems are very woody, and there's no sign of rooting. In the earlier review, one of the 2 borage had roots, and the other didn't. But now they both have roots. This one has quite a nice set of roots, and this one is just starting with its first big root. Lavender is complete bust. Rosemary has roots on one of them, and the others are doing nothing. So if we sum this up, about half of them rooted and the other half didn't. Now what? I've got some rooted herbs. I'm going to try another experiment. I'm going to see how well these grow in my indoor hydroponic system. If you're interested in growing in hydroponics, have a look at this collection of videos here. And I'll add the one about the herbs later on once it's finished. And if you're interested in garden myths, consider getting my book, Garden Myths, Book 1 and Book 2. Happy gardening.